Hi, how you doing? Welcome back to a new video. You can probably tell from the title that this is going to be a Creamfields vlog. This video isn't actually what I expected it to be because basically my experience at Creamfields was cut short. I ended up having to leave early and I talk about that a little bit at the end, and I have a little bit of a rant about some stuff that went down. If you want to know about what went down, make sure you stay till the end of the video. But basically I collated a bunch of clips that I took over the weekend and made a little vlog out of it. It's not as much footage as I would have liked, but at the same time, like, we did what we could, boys and girls. So I really hope you enjoyed the vlog anyway. I have a video coming out soon which is basically like a prep with me / pack with me for a festival video, which I think would be really useful if you're going to a festival soon, so make sure to keep an eye out for that one. Alright, one last thing just before I let you go. If you do like content like this, please let me know down below. Like the video, you already know what to do, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can enjoy. I didn't put any makeup on for this, man. Fuck it.
Yeah,
Me?
I get ready quickly. Fucking no, I get ready quickly. I know you do. That was on the phone. Adam and Saz.
Is Adam chatting shit?
9 PM. And we all assumed it was the whole thing.
Bird's mate, bird.
It wasn't.
Bird's alright, bird. Oh.
Hey.
What?
Oh.
What?
So what were you saying earlier about
Oh, we love you.
Nah, it's a bit dark.
I'm still having a good time now.
So this is our little setup. Got a little TP. Emma's over there. And then Emma's little bed's that side, mine's that side. Of course, copious amounts of Pringles. It's actually like a really nice height, like you can stand up in it. Actually ended up coming back early, and I had a bit of a traumatic experience. Like, I had to come back early, and I'm not really like comfortable talking about why I had to come back early just yet, but I had to come back early, and no shade to the festival whatsoever, the festival was incredible. Like, I had 2 of the best days there. It was so much fun. Like, the acts were fantastic, like the food was great, the people were great, the vibe was incredible. Like, it was a really good festival. However, I had to leave, and my experience in leaving the festival was honestly so stressful because the staff were so unprepared. Basically, it was about 2 a.m. and I needed to get a taxi home, right? And I appreciate the festival's in Desbury. It's quite a difficult place to get to. It's quite a difficult experience to be getting home at that time. Once you're in the festival, you can't get back out. Like, that's the situation with Creamfields, and that's fine. But basically, it was 2 a.m. and I needed to get home. So basically, I ended up going to an information point, which was pretty near to where I was like camped, which was fine. And the information point was really helpful. There was a woman who was working there, and she was like, okay, I would recommend going to the welfare tent. And the welfare tent was about 25 minutes in the opposite direction to where I was. So it was basically the other side of the park, which is fine, but I feel like welfare tents, you should have multiple of those different locations, because obviously the campsite's massive. Like, people are going to be camped up all different kinds of areas, so you don't really want to be walking like half an hour. If you need the wellness tent, you probably need the wellness tent quite urgently, so you should probably have multiple locations dotted around the site rather than just having one that's like one end of the festival. So it was 2 a.m. I walked 25 minutes. It was fucking freezing, by the way, and I was really stressed out at this point, and it wasn't a good situation, basically. So I was walking over there at 2 a.m. by myself in my pajamas. The music was still blaring because Creamfields never stops, which is fine. Still loads of people about, and I ended up like asking people for directions for the wellness tent. Everyone was really friendly, so that was fine. Finally got there, and it was 2 guys standing outside this hut having a cigarette, and I basically explained the situation and was like, listen, I need to get a taxi home, like, what's going on? And they were like, basically, this is where you are on the map, this is where you need to get to. You need to go to the transport hub, which was about, they said it was about 5-minute walk in a certain direction. So luckily my friend Emma, who was back at my tent, said she would come with me just to make sure I got there safely, and like, you know, like I got myself into a taxi kind of thing. And I'm really grateful for Emma, because it was a really stressful experience, so I'm glad she was there. So I had to walk all the way back to my tent, which was like another 25 minutes, to like just get my rucksack and get what I like need to take home. To also grab Emma. So Emma came with me, and we walked back to the wellness tent because that was kind of close to where the transport hub was which was where I need to get home. And then we followed the directions that these guys gave us, which was apparently a 5-minute walk towards the transport hub, and it wasn't a 5-minute walk at all. It was a 20-minute walk, right? And at 3 a.m. when you're really tired and sleep deprived, it wasn't great, but it is what it is. And then so we got to this place, and there was one guy working there, and I was like, oh, is this the transport hub? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, what do you mean you don't know, sir? The man who's working here, the only man who's working here, I've just been advised that this is where the transport hub is. Like, give me some information, please, sir. And he was like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm really not sure where it is. It might be that way. And I was like, okay. So we like carry on walking that way based on this man's very poor directions, may I add. Sorry, I just needed some coffee. And then we get to another like sort of set of like not even like, they're kind of like turnstiles, I think that's what they're called. And I was like, hey, look, I'm looking for the transport hub, like where do I get these taxis from? And he was like, I think it's outside of this door. And at this point I have to leave Emma because Emma can't come any further or she can't get back into the festival. So I'm like, bye Emma. And so like we get there and I'm like, so you think it's outside this door? And I'm like, okay, so what if it's not outside this door? Because obviously once you close the door, like I can't get back into the festival. And outside the door was nothing. There was literally nothing. It just looked like a main road and there was like no cars, nothing, and it was really, really dark. There was no light. So I was like, if I walk down here and there's nothing there, I can't get back in once you close this, because it was like a big white door that sort of like went around the festival. And like if I like knocked on the door, because the music was blaring, like no one's gonna hear. And it wasn't even really a door, it was more like a wall. So I was like, would it be possible for you to come with me? He was like, well, no, I can't, I've got to stay here because I can't leave my post. And I was like, okay, like, can you confirm that there is a taxi rank down there? And he was like, I'm not entirely sure, I think so. And I was like, well, like, I don't want to go there and then not be able to come back into the festival and not have any sort of like way to get home or way to even get back into the festival. So like, is there any way you can tell me where I get the taxi rank from, considering you're the person working here and should know this information? And he was like, I'm sorry, I'm not sure. And I'm like, so the only man working there didn't know where to go. And I was like, it was 3 a.m, sleep deprived, still a bit drunk, like I hadn't slept in 50 hours at this point because you couldn't sleep because the music was so loud. And I was getting really stressed out because it was a stressful situation. And my boyfriend was calling me at the time and he was like, listen, I'll come pick you up. And I was like, I don't even know where to tell you to pick me up, because I was asking the guy who worked there, I was like, can you give me a postcode for this location right here so someone can come pick me up? And he was like, I don't know what the postcode is. And I was like, how do you not know the address of where you're working? And it was really, really, really stressful. Like, I can't reiterate to you. And it just seemed like the person working there wasn't really motivated to help me. He was very much so like, this isn't my problem, like try and find someone else to help you because I don't know what I'm doing. And it just really wound me up at Creamfields, because this was such a stressful situation. Like, I feel like I'm usually quite chill about customer service, but like, because it was so stressful and I was like having a panic attack during this entire experience, no one was willing to help, right? And then this one other guy with these two girls just appeared. Like, they had obviously sort of followed me and Emma in our tracks, like, and sort of taken the same route that we had taken to get here. And basically were like, do you need to get a taxi as well? And I was like, yes. And so this man, who was like really nice, he was probably about 10 years older than me, was like giving me like 2 numbers to phone, and like none of the taxi services were like able to come pick us up because we didn't know the actual address of where we were, because that guy couldn't help us. My voice is going, by the way, if you can't tell. The guy who was basically also a festival goer was like trying his hardest to help me get this taxi home, and he was like, listen, we need to get a taxi back too, we're quite local, we're in Liverpool, so we're gonna go get a taxi and we'll make sure you get a taxi too. And I'm so relieved there was another person there, because honestly, like, if there wasn't another person there, like, I honestly don't know what I would have done, because the way that we went to get this taxi was not the way that the guy who worked at the festival was telling us to go. So I don't know what that guy was on, because it was not the correct way to go, basically, and I would have probably just ended up stranded on the side of a road. And like, looking back on it now, it's even more stressful than it was at the time because of all the things that could have gone wrong. I walk down where this guy is going to get a taxi, and I'm just trusting this guy at this point, because the guy who works there, no idea what he's doing, and I'm like, I'm going to trust this random guy because he seems a bit more clued up and he seems a bit more motivated to help here, and he needs to get a taxi himself, so he says. So yeah, so we walk in a completely different direction to what the guy told me to go, basically, and eventually we get to a taxi rank, and I'm like, thank God. Like, seriously, it was so stressful at this point, like, and bear in mind I'm carrying all my festival stuff on my back as well, and it's 3 a.m, and I'm tired, and I'm a bit drunk. Like, it was just a lot of emotions. And finally I ended up getting a taxi home, and the taxi only cost me £220. I'm not even going to moan about that, because it was a long ass journey. Like, the journey itself took over 2 hours to get back to where I live, and in stressful situations sometimes you need to do things like this. Like, I'm just glad that I'm back and I'm safe and everything turned out okay. Like, very gutted about the fact that I did have to come home early. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it really hasn't sit well with me. I feel really upset about it. I'm sorry to put a bit of a downer on this one, but it's been an emotional one. But yeah, I just wanted to say, Creamfields, your customer service not fantastic.
No.